Okay, so No Man's Sky version 5.0, dubbed Worlds Part 1, has been out for the better part of a week, and now I'm just playing catch up. So let's go through these patch notes, compare them to what's in game, and talk about the future of No Man's Sky after this. Hey travelers, welcome back to The Rift here on Ghostlight. Now, as I said in the cold open, I'm just late to the party. I've been cooped up in a hotel with really dodgy Wi-Fi once again. My only hopes of playing the update were either PS Remote Play, which wasn't happening, or having the update pushed out to Xbox and accessing that through Xbox Cloud Gaming, which also wasn't happening. But I'm back now in my home studio, and I took the bulk of yesterday to dive in to see what this update had to offer. And let me say, it's a lot. No Man's Sky Worlds Part 1, or version 5.0, introduces a complete refresh of the universe. Flora, fauna, water, clouds, light, atmosphere. Every world has some kind of update, even if only minor. And that's the bulk of this update, just a world refresh. Most of what's within these patch notes speak to that refresh, but in more detail. And the key here, being engine enhancements, is really what makes everything on this list possible. Now, one of the first things I noticed upon loading up the game was the new dynamic lighting. Shadows are deeper, richer. Lights and lighting effects are more active and varied. Simply put, the darks are darker, be it the shadows that are cast or the moonless nights on a planet. Now, the next most notable thing about this update is that no world has been left untouched. As the patch notes indicate, every biome has had a refresh, with new flora, new fauna, some with new megaflora. There seems to be even more variation between each of these biomes. Now, separate sections of the patch notes are given to each specific fauna that's been included in this update: the flora-like hybrids, the beetle-like insects, the living buildings. Now, the Spectral Vanguard capital planet, Leona, was lucky enough to have one of these new flora hybrids, one that Burger Lips has aptly named the Garnish Hound. Also within our capital system, we can find one of these new beetle types. Now, these are different than the new Brood Mother Enemy, which we'll get into. These beetles are tameable creatures that can be adopted, ridden, or harvested for their slime. Now, I went hunting for living buildings as soon as I got back in front of my PlayStation. Given their similarities to robotic fauna, I started searching red stellar systems with my freighter, looking for planets with around 2 fauna available. Well, I found one with 4 fauna, so I went to investigate. I ended up finding 2 robotic fauna just as before, but along with these were 2 living buildings, each with an alternate appearance. Now, I'm unsure if this is always the case, but from my experience, hunting these buildings are similar to hunting other robotic life. And it seems that the diversity of these worlds goes beyond that of variation of animal and plant life on each planet. Things like sky and water color, weather patterns, and atmosphere are varied from one planet to the next. More dramatic weather occurrences with associated atmospheric particles that respond to wind patterns. Fog and ambient effects now move with the planet's atmosphere. And volumetric clouds have been added as well, which is a nice touch. Now, the water system has been totally reworked from the ground up. Now lakes and oceans render in high definition, with light reflections, dynamic waves, and ripples. And this is exactly what the community has been begging for years. Not only in how the water looks, but also how it interacts with the coastline and base building parts. Everything about the water is a win, including the new technology you can install to allow your ship to make aquatic landings. Also in this update, solar ships can now be built in the Starship Fabricators, a feature we saw hinted at in previous update trailers. The addition of solar ships gets us one step closer to one day having all ship variations available in the Fabricator. Come on, exotics. Oh, and before I forget, The Sentinel Walker HUDs we've been talking about are now live in game as well. Now these give an individual health bar to each section of the walker, and you don't need to destroy each of these to take the walker out entirely. Okay, in previous episodes of The Rift, I discussed data mine files from our friend That Bomber Boy over on Twitter. Some files pointed to cooking recipes related to insect byproducts, and based on that, I speculated that we may see a new insect-like enemy type. Well, here she is. The new brood mother and her creepy little babies. Now these lovelies spawn after destroying their little grubs, which I seem to find primarily on marshy planets, but your results may vary. This new enemy type rears its head in any normal playthrough, but it additionally seems to be the focus of the upcoming Expedition 14, Liquidators. Another feature of this update appears to be yet another expedition, one that tasks the players to take up the cause of a new faction in No Man's Sky, the Liquidator Vanguard, or specifically Liquidator number 3813 Golf, paying homage to the 90s sci-fi film Starship Troopers, or maybe just a wink to current hit Helldivers 2. Now with that expedition, we'll see the addition of new chitin armor types and a jetpack. Currently you can get the helmet variations from battling these broods in normal gameplay, but the rest you'll need to complete the upcoming expedition to collect. With that, you'll be able to find new tech and a look for the Minotaur, a complete Liquidator redesign that you can also get by completing milestones in the expedition. Now there's more news that I'm late to report. You may have seen this from our friends Captain Steve or Professor Cynical. These have to do with That Bomber Boy's datamine files, showing some fun features that may appear in Part 2. Now if you want to see some of these unused assets in motion, be it glow lizards, mana rays, desert subbiomes, or deep water biomes, Bomber's pulled all of these assets into game. You can go check him out on Twitter at bomber_that. And don't forget to give him a follow, you won't regret it. One thing I do want to mention that TBB uncovered was plans for a new stellar body. Now we currently have yellow, green, blue, and red star systems, each with their own associated material. Well, it appears that the Void Mother will expand her reach in the near future, as Part 2 may possibly introduce purple star systems, as supported by a new stellar metal and new hyperdrive tech for both starships and freighters. And I know what you're thinking, but Ghost, doesn't the Liquidator expedition, coupled with the purple spewing bug enemies and the upcoming purple star systems, doesn't that mean new lore is on the way? Well, dear interlopers, I have no idea, but I sure hope so. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Rift. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. The biggest of shoutouts to my YouTube members at both the interloper and friend entity level, and my lone remaining Rift Walker, Raging Furball. I'm Ghost, and as always, dear Rift Walkers, I'll see you tonight.
The drift, oceans renew in tide shift. The frontier forged on the cosmic scale. So take a seat, Rift Walkers, let me tell you a tale.